How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading when the price is going up or down. Crypto community fired up over SEC action against Coinbase. It should be crystal clear by now that the Biden administration wants all crypto, even the legit parts of it, run out of the US, tweeted Custodia Bank founder and CEO Caitlin Long. See also yesterday's White House economic report, which dunked on all financial innovation while exposing the stability of traditional banks. Long and others called into question the SEC's sudden delivery of a so-called Wells notice after it allowed Coinbase, a publicly traded company, to offer staking rewards for several years, and now only threatens to sue Coinbase on claims of offering unregistered securities. Over the past 9 months, Coinbase has met with SEC more than 30 times, sharing details of our business to build a path toward registration, wrote Paul Grewald, the chief legal officer at Coinbase. During this time, the SEC has given basically zero feedback on what to change or how to register. Instead, today we will receive a Wells notice. So Coinbase not only spent a lot of money trying to work with the SEC to become compliant, they're going to be given an enforcement action because the SEC says they're not compliant. Since day one, Coinbase has invested heavily in being fully compliant with US laws, even when it forced them to move slower or lose a competitive edge versus other exchanges that chose to take shortcuts, wrote Chris Dixon, general partner at Andreessen Horowitz. Dixon continued, "We hope the US will take a more constructive approach to collaborating with investors while protecting consumers." Really? You had to pop up now? Ripple Labs has been in an ongoing court battle with the SEC since December 2020, when the agency accused the company, whose founders launched XRP in June 2012, of misleading investors and raising $1.3 billion in unregistered securities. "I doubt I will ever understand how the SEC can sign off on Coinbase being publicly listed, then raise all these issues afterwards," tweeted attorney Bill Morgan. "Forget just crypto, how is the SEC protecting shareholders of Coinbase with this dreadful conduct?" Now they're hurting shareholders and crypto holders at this point, not just crypto investors. Kwon arrested in Montenegro, says country's Minister of Interior. Terraform Labs co-founder and CEO Do Hyung Kwon was reportedly arrested Thursday at an airport in Montenegro's capital city of Podgorica, according to the country's minister. Montenegrin police have detained a person suspected of being one of the most wanted fugitives, South Korean citizen Do Kwon, co-founder and CEO of Singapore-based Terraform Labs, he said. Montenegrin authorities are still confirming that the individual arrested is Kwon based on the claim that the person is in possession of falsified documents when detained. Local reports in South Korea also indicate a person presumed to be the CEO of Terraform Labs has been arrested in Montenegro. The country's national police agency reportedly said that it has confirmed that the person arrested was the same person as the CEO, Kwon, with photo data. The arrest comes almost a year after the collapse of Terra ecosystem last May, an event that thrust the digital asset industry firmly into crypto winter and contributed to the failure of several firms. South Korean authorities issued an arrest warrant for Do Kwon last September, months after his home was raided as part of a criminal probe into the collapse of the Terra ecosystem. In the International Criminal Police Organization later approved South Korea's request to issue a red notice for Kwon, making him a wanted criminal worldwide. Last month, Kwon was charged with violating securities laws by the SEC, which accused him of orchestrating $1 billion crypto asset securities fraud involving an algorithmic stablecoin and other crypto asset securities. The complaint was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, where Sam Bankman-Fried's criminal case brought to the U.S. Justice Department currently is playing out. So that's about it for Do Kwon. Mysten Labs to buy 96 million in shares and token warrants back from FTX. Debtors of collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX filed a motion in bankruptcy court Thursday seeking to sell a multi-billion-dollar stake in the Web3 firm Mysten Labs back to the Delaware-based startup. The Mysten Lab offer comprises 95 million in preferred stocks and 1 million worth of SUI token warrants, a financial derivative that grants its holder the right to purchase tokens at a given price under certain conditions. Mysten Labs is building a proof-of-stake blockchain called Sui and an open-source programming language called Mu. Mysten Labs developer network for Sui is live, with a full launch slated for the second quarter of this year. FTX began building up its stake in Mysten Labs last August, a few months before the swift implosion of Sam Bankman-Fried's crypto empire. FTX Ventures arm had led Mysten Labs Series B funding round. Mysten Labs announced it raised $300 million in valuation of $2 billion at a valuation of $2 billion, tapping firms as backers such as Andreessen Horowitz, Binance Labs, Coinbase Ventures, Circle, Franklin Templeton, and Samsung Next, so a lot of big people. The offer to reclaim FTX's stake was sent by Mysten Labs on March 16th, according to the motion, which found to be an attractive offer which would allow the debtors to recover a significant amount of the value that the debtors have invested through FTX. Selling the stake in Mysten Labs for $96 million represents a slight loss, as FTX spent $102 million according to the motion. So that's a really good deal, considering most of the time you're lucky to get about 50%. So onto the charts for the daily. We are trying to pump up. We tried to hit to the top of our golden pocket again. We're kind of just bouncing around in this pocket, somewhat forming a bull flag here on the daily. Our momentum wave does want to round off. Our RSI is trying to head up, and our stochastic did have a bearish cross, but that bearish cross isn't really spreading apart very far, so it may make a bullish cross. The money flow did make a bit of a bounce here if you look off that neutral zone, but the VWAP is still kind of nowhere to be found, so the medium term is still sketchy and doesn't know where it wants to go. And the money flow is just barely above neutral, but we did make that bounce. If we look at the 4 hour, you can see we got quite a good move up. We are hitting the top of our value area high on our volume profile though, so keep that in mind. And we are falling from it. But we are inside of a rising triangle. On the 2 hour, we have more bodies that touch. That could take us to about 30k. Stochastic's heading up, RSI is slightly trying to head down. Money flow is coming up pretty strongly. This 4 hours holding. We are slightly tapering out overall, but we are still holding in the bullish territory. VWAP's starting to curl, momentum's starting to curl, so I'd be a little weary of that, but it's likely we could start to move or kind of set sideways as we range in this pattern. Over on the 2 hour, you can see we got rejected by that value area high. Our stochastic's trying to run up, kind of rejecting, crossing, but that cross is likely to happen soon. RSI's heading up, momentum's heading up. It was kind of curling, but it looks like it wants to straighten out. Money flow's trying to come in really strongly. So the last couple this candle, we've kind of trying to trend away from that downslope that we've had. So if we're able to sustain here and keep gaining, that would be a positive sign. VWAP's heading down but kind of flattening out, so that is a little worrisome as it could start to curl back down again. You'd want to see it more curl up than flatten out. Over on the 1 hour, we didn't really touch on our money flow. We got close a couple times, but we've made some bounces. Our VWAP's overall trying to cross, but we did keep breaking into this bearish zone. Our momentum is setting in lower highs, and our RSI is trying to head up, and our stochastic's trying to head up. So 1 hour is trying to bring in some life here. We do have this green dot that could print, so that is hopeful for these other time frames to keep moving up, even though we're starting to round out. We do have a gap here quite a ways back from when we broke down into this range previously. So we do have this higher gap that we could fill, but we also have this lower gap to fill. So if we fill this higher gap first, like I said yesterday, that would be concerning, as that'd set us up for a very big move down. So just be wary of that, but we do have the ability to keep moving up based on the futures gap. So over on graph, we broke above our support again. Just been all over the place. Kind of have a symmetrical triangle here. If I can roughly draw it out real quick. A little more sloping downwards. I wouldn't really call this a symmetrical triangle. Maybe more of a descending triangle, so I'd be a little weary of that. Our stochastic is heading down, but it does look like it wants to make a bullish cross. RSI is trying to head up. Our momentum is coming down, and our money flow is coming down, as well as the VWAP. So overall, I'd say we look kind of bearish on the daily. Over on the 4 hour, our stochastic does look like it could get a bearish cross. Our RSI is kind of flat. Money flow is starting to come out. Our VWAP is starting to come back down. Our momentum looks like it could start to curl away here as well. Over on the 2 hour, our RSI is getting lower highs and starting to head down. Our stochastic, our RSI is pretty flat. Our momentum does have a green dot, but it's sort of rounding out. Our money flow is in the bearish territory, but is attempting to make a bullish cross. If we're able to get into that bullish zone and hold, that would be a positive sign for us. Over on the 1 hour, our money flow is in the bullish zone, so that could carry over to the 2 hour. So watch this and watch for if it weakens. Our stochastic starting to head down. It is kind of trying to curl up. Our RSI is pretty flat here as well, and we are trying to get a green dot on our momentum and get a bit of a curl here. But we've kind of been flashing back and forth between going up and down. So I'd really watch over the next couple hours. When we look over at Anchor on the daily, we are trying to hit that support. We are hitting that point of control, so we have a likely, if we drop from this point of control, then it's likely we'll hit the value area low. Not a very big swing, as it's a pretty tight area. But if we're able to sustain this, we could head to the value area high and continue upwards, which would be good for the bigger volume profile, because we begin further away from the point of control here. Stochastic's heading down. RSI is trying to head up though. We are trying to get a bullish cross on the stochastic. Money flows overall coming down, but we did curl up slightly. VWAP starting to curl up, and our momentum looks like it could try to curl up here as well. So the daily's getting some hopeful signals. Over on the 4 hour, our stochastic's well into the bullish zone, and our RSI is heading up pretty strongly as well. Our VWAP's going up pretty strong, but our money flow is kind of weak. It is technically bullish as it's a little green, but it's very hard to even see. Our stochastic looks like, our momentum looks like it could start to round out here. So I watch for this money flow to flop and us start to fall from here. If we look at the 2 hour, we did get a retouch on the neutral zone, and we have gone up on the money flow since then, so that is a positive sign. Our VWAP is trying to head up, momentum's trying to head up, stochastic and RSI are trying to head up. Our stochastic could take a little bit of a breather, but that's alright because it's still giving our RSI a lot of strength. You just want to watch for a sharp correction like this. Over on the 1 hour, we are trying to push that support. Stochastic's heading up, resistance, or RSI is trying to head up. Our momentum is trying to head up. Our money flow is well into the green, and our VWAP is heading slightly bullish. So overall, the 1 hour looks like we could continue some strong movements upwards, but I'd watch that VWAP and see if the medium term starts to lose strength. Over on XRP, we didn't quite get that big of a green candle today. Stochastic's kind of in the bearish zone. It does want to make a cross to head to the bullish zone. RSI is heading up. Money flow is trying to slightly head up, but our VWAP's still coming down. Momentum is heading up, but could start to round as you see this lighter wave is kind of curling. Over on the 4 hour, we're setting up lower highs on momentum. We have a red dot. Our stochastic's really weak, so our RSI is likely to fall, but it's going pretty flat. Money flow is kind of flat, just barely above this neutral zone, and our VWAP is fighting with the neutral zone as well, so the 4 hour looks kind of bearish here. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic has a bearish divergence that's just been going on forever. RSI is kind of flat. Momentum looks like it could curl, but we're getting a green dot that could confirm. VWAP broke bearish and is starting to head bullish, so it kind of rejected a bearish cross, so that could be a good sign on the 2 hour. We'll want to see this money flow keep making the moves it's making, momentum curl up, and this VWAPs keep going up. Over on the 1 hour, the VWAP's a little easier to see. Money flow's somewhat coming down the last few hours, so that's kind of concerning, as if that trend continues, we may not get the carryover to the higher time frames. Stochastic's overall heading down, but it's trying to get a little bit of strength here. We did bounce off that neutral zone, so we are slightly bullish on stochastic, but it's not the biggest strength. RSI is pretty flat, so overall we're pretty weak on the 1 hour. For algo on the daily, we don't have really that big of a candle here either. Stochastic's heading up, RSI is heading up, money flow still doesn't know where it wants to be. Our momentum looks like we're about to curl over, and our VWAP looks like we could test the bearish zone. Over on the 4 hour, we have a red dot that doesn't know if it wants to show up or not. Money flow's overall coming out. Stochastic's heading down. Our RSI is trying to head up despite that. VWAP is probably going to cross bearish if we don't reject here and head up. So over on the 2 hour, VWAP looks pretty tight. Everything's kind of on top of each other on the 2 hour, heading up pretty much in tandem. Stochastic looks like we could get a bearish cross though, but our RSI is trying to curl up and head upwards. So even if we give a bit of a breather on the stochastic, we're still in the bullish zone. Over on the 1 hour, money flows well into the green. Last few tops have been slightly going down though, so that is slightly concerning. Stochastic's trying to head up, RSI is trying to head up, VWAP's trying to head up, and our momentum's trying to head up. So we are trying to head up. We could get some positive momentum from here, but we're going to need the money flow to keep the strength. Otherwise, if you look at like the 2 hour and 4 hour, it looks like we could easily break bearish if we don't get more strength coming in. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.